So 3 days ago, my sister asked me for advice because she's struggling as a student. She's studying law and there's so much workload and she doesn't get herself to study. But then she also doesn't enjoy the studying that much. And the advice that I gave her at that moment is the main thing that I would do if I were a student again. So the first thing that I told her is the main thing that has helped me to do really good at university, but doing so in a way that I studied much less than other people. Because what I did is that I didn't focus on to-do lists, all the things that I had to get done, but I focused one day at a time on my inputs. So what I did on the evening of the next day, I sat down and asked myself, okay, how much time should I or do I want to study tomorrow? And if I set 3 hours, after I finished my 3 hours studying, that I actually had to be efficient for it to count, I stopped studying. Even when I was in the flow, even if I enjoyed it, I stopped. Because I met my goal, and this way I was more excited to study the next day. And that's the same advice that I told my sister. She came home from vacation, was unmotivated to start, and was overwhelmed with all the things that she had to do. And I told her, hey, tomorrow start by studying 3 hours, and then 4, and when you feel comfortable go to 5, and then 6, and 7, and that might sound a lot because she's studying law, but for you, if you actually do 5 hours, 5 days per week, depending on your study, that could be enough. But on a grander scheme, this tip is all about how can I make the studying more fun? And now comes a little bit more advice how you can make it more fun, which is the first type of advice that I would give and I would do as a student. And then later we come to the second type of advice that helps you to still perform as a student. Because if you only make it fun, yeah. So how can you make it more fun? And this might be completely different for you than for me, but only asking yourself that question on a consistent basis will lead to way more answers. Maybe for you it's way more fun to go to the library to study. Maybe for you it's more fun to study with a friend or a group of friends. Maybe for you it's more fun to, I don't know, always make the entire weekend free to then come back home the next week re-energized and ready to study. There's so much that you could do, but the problem is that many students, and including myself at the beginning, don't focus on that. They always focus on, I have to get all of that stuff done. I don't know, how can I make it more efficient? I don't know. No. How can I make this more fun is the better type of question to ask yourself that leads also to better results. But then, like I mentioned, that's the one side. How can I make it more fun? But then we also have to make sure that we perform. And this has all to do with the second category of advice that I would give, namely, how can I benefit my future self? Because if you only study 2 hours per day and you kind of get through, maybe that's still not the best path to make your future self happy. Maybe you have to push yourself a little bit more and this way to land jobs you want. But this goes also much further than studying. Because maybe you are really interested in a subject, hey, then go try out an internship. Or maybe there's something you're really passionate about, read some books about it, try it out. Do whatever you think can benefit your future self. But to bring it all together, there's so much study advice. There's so much things you should do and could do. But in the end, if you keep asking yourself, how can I make this more fun? And how can I benefit my future self? Then you're going to do really well as a student, you're going to enjoy your time, and you're going to look back to the time you studied thinking, man, I'm so grateful for all the great memories I made and for the time I had. But even if you keep asking yourself those two questions, there's one more advice that I think you need to bring it all together. And this isn't a video by Better Ideas. I'm not sponsored, but it's a great video, super well produced. And I think the message can help you to actually reach those two objectives of making it more fun and of benefiting your future self.